Hello, y'all.
Hello, everybody.
We hope y'all are having a great Monday. So, we're shifting things a little bit. So, if you watch us for rehearsal purpose, we're going to start shifting things where Darin and I both come on here every other week and do a marriage segment. We just feel this is a great time for us to really start talking about marriage. So, if you're on here and you watch Rehearsal Purpose for Pregnancy, Loss, or Infertility, we'll be talking about that also. But either way, if you're married, if you're single, it's always good and I think refreshing to hear some marriage talk.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, so this is probably really long overdue. We've talked about doing this. We've actually have done this when we were working at the radio station. And then life kind of got in the way, as it does. And so now is probably the right time since everybody's home. We're all almost jobless and homeless. And who knows what's going on out there. But we're not hopeless.
We're not hopeless. And we don't mean to make light of it. But we definitely want to bring some smiles and just we want y'all to know you're not in this alone. Like we're in this together.
Yeah. And that's why it's posed kind of as a proposition of if we do this together, because it is a question and we don't even know. It's been so long since we've all done this together and not on our own as little gods, that we have no idea what would happen if we did this together under God. Even though if we read our Bible, we would know exactly what would happen. It'd be the city of God on earth. That would be it'd be paradise on earth if we just remembered who we were. Yeah. And so that's kind of what this is going to be about, which, it's marriage. And so, we don't want you to think that it's just a marriage podcast, because marriage is one of the first things God created after earth. It was the second thing. First it was Adam and then marriage. And there's a reason for that. There's a very logical reason for all that. And we can't give in to lies. And we can't, it's okay. I think she's nervous about our video. We can't give in. And so that's why we decided to do this now, because it's now or never. And so I want to come on here to try to wake some of my brothers up, remind them who they are, and we need to band together. And I think time is getting short, and that involves fixing the family, and remembering what a marriage is about, what matrimony is, and where it comes from, and why it's necessary, and why it's worth working on. And so, we're going to start. This is kind of our introductory episode, and then every week we'll come on and have different subjects and stuff.
And so if you're local to Lubbock, Texas, and the surrounding areas, you may have heard our show. We had an If We Did This Together show on the radio, on a Christian radio station called Walk by Faith Radio. Shout out to you guys. We loved our time there, and we loved doing the show. And so I'll be really transparent, and this is something I fully believe in, that our husbands are our covering. And so and this guy right here, he's my covering.
Sounds like a lot of pressure.
So in being really transparent, last week, I talked to you guys about the, abundance and what it means to be abundant. And I'll be quite honest, I didn't run that show by my husband, and I normally run everything I do by him. But that week it was just kind of go, 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 go. And I didn't have time to sit down with him. We didn't make the time for me to sit down and go through that show with him. And so to be really transparent, that bothered me. And so a couple of days later, after it kind of just kept bothering me, and I finally was like, okay, God, I'm so sorry I didn't run this material by my husband. I hope I didn't disappoint you, and that I didn't share any, bad information. But now what do I do to prevent any of this from ever happening? And I think this is important for me to say, because I think oftentimes women, and especially in this day and age, we're doing it alone. Like, we're not leaning into our husbands. We're not realizing their role is our spiritual guidance. They are the priest of our home. They're the pastors of your home. And it's important to me that I run spiritual stuff by him, because he is my covering. And with that, with him being my covering, in a sense, he's whoever hears me, whoever listens, he's that covering too.
Yeah. So a lot of that I didn't really know about. So if it's sounding like, I listened to last show and it's like, no, I gotta step
Oh,
in
yeah,
here.
no.
No, I didn't know a lot of that. I mean, she brought that to me, and she's right. And what I want to remind men and women for sure, but men because it's on them, is that what it means to be a head of a household, what it means to be a head of anything, what it means to be the covering of anything, the masculine side of anything. And so I brought a teaching tool that should help out, and it's my shoe. Weird looking shoe.
Just kidding.
See, it's real simple. It's a little dirty, like us men are. There's different parts of it. There's a masculine side and a feminine side. There's a part that gives and a part that receives. The part that's on the covering of it, and this structure is everywhere. It doesn't matter what it is. It's down to a cell. Reality is made out of this structure: masculine, feminine, positive, negative, good and evil. And not to call women evil, but there's opposites. That's what the world's made out of. That's how God made everything. And so when we talk about being the head, the head is what gets punched also. The head is what encounters reality. The head makes decisions to protect the body. And it's not because the head has privilege. It's not because the head has a special spot on the body. It's because if there's no head, you have no body. You die. You have no thought. But at the same time, the body supports the head. I mean, you can't also have a head without a body. And so us as a community are a body. And we need heads. We need leaders. We need people that pick up the responsibility, because it's a responsibility. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't so hard to do, we wouldn't be having this problem, the world the way it is. It's so hard to do. And that's why men are totally fine with not being the head anymore. I get it. I really, really get it. It's so tempting to let somebody else take the responsibility, and to let my wife take the punches, to let my wife handle all the business. It's like it's off my shoulders, because it's so much work. It's so much responsibility. It's life or death. It's day-to-day life or death. That's why God put us here as the stronger vessel. It's a hefty trash tub and a vase, even if they both carry the same amount of water. They have different purposes, even though they can carry the same amount of water. And as men, we got to remember that we're built to take beatings. We're not supposed to be emotional. We're not supposed to give in to our passions. We're supposed to be the rocks of the community, guided by truth. And that's really most important. Is that I know that the reason there's so much confusion is because there are men that are the heads of their household, full heads of their household, and they do not follow the truth. And so they become evil heads. And obviously it's going to break the family. It's going to break generations, because we all become like what we hate. And if you make your children hate you, then they are you. You're turning them into you. And you hated your parents. That's why you're like them. And we got to all forgive. We got to forgive. We can start over. And it all just starts by saying the truth. No matter what, you speak the truth. And so that's kind of what this is going to be about. It's going to be, I said weekly earlier, but it's actually every other week, so that, on her individual, and really, like she was saying about, running things by me, it's not because she thought that she could do it without me, or with me. It doesn't matter. It was me being lazy, and I knew she had her show, and I would think, every Monday would come around, it's like, oh, I hope she doesn't need my help, because it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
And so it's not about having power. It has nothing to do with having power. It's about producing life.
Yeah.
That's what marriage is, and that's what truth is.
Well, and that's kind of, I mean, we've been intending, like he said at the beginning of the show, we've been intending to do this again, to start, if we do this together again, to implement it into her sole purpose, which
for a year now.
Yeah, for a year now. And I've been telling y'all, I've been trying to prep y'all and let y'all know, like we're doing some rebranding, we're doing some restructuring, and this is a part of it. We're adding, if we do this together, into her sole purpose, which her sole purpose will be changing soon as well. That's step by step. So I'll tell y'all more about that when it's time.
Good news.
But yeah, and so, and kind of going back to when I was talking about, I didn't run the show by him and get his thoughts on it. Now, most shows, if I'm going to use a scripture, I'll tell him what I'm talking about, and I'll say,
I'll go hunting through the Bible.
Yeah, I'll say, can you give me some scriptures for this? Because I trust him, and to me, passing on scripture to other people is a huge deal. Like, I don't ever want to mislead anybody. I don't ever want to misuse a scripture. And so Darin is my covering. And so not that I don't know the Bible, but I want to just make sure I'm getting something right. I want to make sure that, that any shepherding that we may or may not do is done appropriately. If God is having somebody listen to us.
And that goes for me too. And it's, again, back to these ideas that scare people because they sound politically incorrect. Or one thing to remember, if anything's politically incorrect, that usually means factually incorrect. So we want to return to fact and truth. And the truth is, the whole idea of submitting, of relinquishing the responsibility is not just woman to man and then men, enjoy life. It's I have to be the exact same amount of submissive. Essentially, I'm the wife to Christ, to the truth. If that's the downline, and it's not that I'm not the head of everything. I'm just the head of my unit that I'm put in charge of, and I have a head, and I am 100% submissive to that. It won't work if we don't do that. Just like a company. Any company, they fall apart the second that line gets broken. When a manager's not being a good manager, or when they're not using the right process. You can talk to your manager, and if it's a heavy issue, you take it to your manager above them, all the way up to the head, because one person has to make a decision. Otherwise, you're divided amongst yourselves. Something cannot. If our bodies, our fingers and hands don't have individual thought. It's all under a head, so that it keeps living. Otherwise, we fragment. And that's what's happened to the family. Obviously, they've fragmented. Men have been removed physically from most families, intentionally so. Men have also been removed spiritually. They've been removed by temptations, by video games. And, speaking to men, I know that pull. I know that addiction, all the kinds of addictions that you can fall into, they're lies. It's a phony version. I mean, every video game us guys play and get trapped into, it's good slaying evil. And you practice that for 8 hours a day in a basement when it's like you can just go outside and battle evil. It's really hard too. It's really hard. We're always afraid of, what our friends or family are going to think of us, and it doesn't matter. What's the truth? And the second we all ask ourselves, what are we supposed to do? There's a nagging voice that tells you exactly what to do, and you shove that down, and you turn on the video game again. And so, like I've been off video games for about 3 years now.
Gosh, yeah, it's been a while.
It's an addiction. It really is. She's never tried it. It's nice. We could be playing right now. Oh.
I'm good.
I guess I'll be a man.
Darn.
Yeah, so I know the feeling, guys, but we have to, or we fragment.
Yeah, and just coming from a woman's perspective, I'm gonna say a little funny here, and it might be unpopular, but
I'll get ready to spit. Go ahead.
But truth bomb here, like I don't want the responsibility to
Yeah,
run
no,
my
we don't.
home, and I'm trying to figure out the women who do run their homes. I'm trying to figure out why would you want that? Like
Well,
I
yeah,
just
it's
don't.
responsibility. It's there. The everything's perverted, right? And the word perversion means confusion. It means that's what it is. When things are perverted, it's confused and it's upside down. Basically, everything's upside down. Uh, Top is on bottom right now, and it's men. We're supposed to be the ones that get to work and turn the wheel and put things right, put it back right side up. And like I keep saying, it takes a lot of work. But you'll
Mhm.
notice that the only way that things can be turned upside down is by being too afraid to say that it's upside down, because it's
Yeah.
obvious. You look at it and it's upside down. But if you're afraid to point that out, and they tell you that upside down is right side up, and you'll feel it. You'll feel the weakness creep through your whole body, and you submit, and you're afraid. You're so afraid that, well, if I stand up, if I say anything that's true, then everybody's going to look at me. Everybody's going to judge me. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? And it's you're not alone in wanting. And I know all you men really deep down want to be the hero. That's why you keep playing the video games. You want to be the hero. You want to take the responsibility. But everybody's telling you not to. It's don't listen to lies. Be brave. And now's the time. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know what anybody else would be waiting for. What's the worst that could happen if men take up responsibility to make things right? Which includes speaking to their other brothers. If you have a brother that is being a bad head, that's our job. That's our job as brothers, and sisters too, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah. Yeah, I've lovingly told friends if I felt like they were belittling their husbands or taking away um their right. I don't know if right's the right word, but
responsibility.
their
Yeah.
responsibility to be the head of the household. And I get it. I mean, Darin and I talk about this topic often, and I get it. I get why women, why it's hard. Because there are men playing video games in their mom's
You
basement.
can't trust us.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
And so that's like why Darin has a heart to talk to men who maybe just need a little push, because it can get right side up if we let it. Your home can get right side up. Women can start to learn how to trust men, but we both have to be willing to do it. Women have to be willing to say, "Okay, honey, if you say you want to be the head of the household, I'm going to trust you to do it."
And as a man, do you love your wife enough to be the brunt, to be that which comes in contact with harsh reality every day? Because that's what being the head is. That's what being a covering is. An umbrella is a covering. It's what's between you and the falling rain. And men are supposed to be that. We're supposed to be that. We're just physically built stronger. It's in our reality. It's in our DNA. It's in our bones. We are that. And the women are the heart of the family. Like we're equal in importance, but not in function.
Yeah.
And that's just like the shoe. That my shoe, it's got a wool covering on the outside, on the top. The bottom's a hard rubber, obviously. If they're equal, which they are in function, but they're completely opposite in form. And if I were to invert those, if I were to put the hard rubber on the inside and the soft wool on the outside, again, it disintegrates, it disembodies. It might take a day, it might feel like it's running just fine for a little while, but it'll fragment. Yeah, and that's just the structure. To be a man is to submit. It's to give up pride. It's to throw all that responsibility that's on your shoulders onto your spiritual husband, which doesn't necessarily husband in a spiritual sense. The same way there's animal husbandry. It's what Jesus is our head,
Mm-hmm.
and I submit as a member of that body. Otherwise, I die. Otherwise, I fragment. Otherwise, I pull away from the body, and you wither away. And that's just what's happening to. It's happening all over the world in so many different examples: financial, religious. It saddens me, and I don't judge too hard, but just because I don't know everything. But it makes me sad that there's so many churches that are more afraid of anything, including death. It's strange to me that so many churches are more afraid of death than they are of worshiping. They're more afraid of this hypothetical, even though it's unlikely, death than they are of staying open and pleasing God. That blows my mind. I'm so much more afraid of the opposite.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna die. We're gonna die.
Yeah.
To break it to y'all.
And people need community right now. Sorry.
More than anything. No, you're good. It's true. Like, yeah. I mean, and that's the the church. Your church. That is the body of Christ. That's like the womb of Christians. It's where we go and we get together and we grow, and for them to all be shutting down, and like I said, it's if that's God's will, that's God's will. But it's a shame that it's happening so much
quickly.
Right. It's almost done without a proper cause. If we were to find out that the cure to this thing going around is to be home, that's the cure. If you have it and you need to be cured or immunized, just go home. Then I'd get it. I'd get it. But shut down God's temples, I guess. Even then, even if they told us that we found the cure to all this and it's just going home and not going to church, that's the cure, and you'll live a few more years on earth, it still just seems crazy to me. It seems crazy.
Yeah.
And so, that's not going to spread unless, the family comes back together.
Yeah, and we don't operate by fear. I think that's been the hardest thing is, not saying we haven't been fearful, because we have, but we do stop and tell one another, don't operate in fear. We can't operate in fear. We can't make decisions off of fear. And so just with this time and this season that we're in life right now, I think that's an important message, is to not operate in fear, and to remember that people need community, they need love, they need to be welcomed in as much as possible. And,
especially now. I mean, if there's ever been a time in history that people would probably think they need church and they're all closing, I don't know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
And we've talked about, if that's what's going to happen, then church will be in our home.
Yes, we'll open up our doors. So if you're local to us and you need church, we'll open up our doors to you. We've already discussed that.
Yes, we have.
And just kind of going back to, I know we're bouncing around a lot, but it's because like we said, we just want to kind of introduce if we do this together segment of Her Soul Purpose. And so kind of going back to what my husband was talking about with the man stepping up and being the head of the household. Women, that's not a put down for you. It's not saying you're not worthy. It's not saying you can't do it. We all know you can do it.
The thing is, men, again, there's nothing to head if it's flips upside down. Like, what we need, women, we need the feminine. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
We need that hidden space, the feminine. It's the home, the warmth. Mm-hmm. It's pointless to be ahead without that. And, there are a lot of women that realize that once they get that.
Yeah.
They get everything they want. They have their high-powered position. They're the heads of their families. And something deep inside them wants a family. They have everything they think, everything they're told that they want by the world, I guess. And they get it, and it's a waste of time to them. They want a kid. They want children. They want a family. They want a husband. They want a home. They want to be that radiating warmth and protection of family. Yeah. And if it's flipped upside down, then it's a lie, basically. Yeah. It's a lie.
I mean, and women, we're called to be the helpmate I mean, so we still matter in the decision processes.
Mm-hmm.
We still matter. Our opinions, our thoughts, what we want to do. Those things still matter. I mean, but it does. It takes a trust, because
Mm-hmm.
Darren and I might discuss something, and I'm thinking the total opposite of him. But he's gonna go. I can trust Darren that he's gonna go back to God and submit to God and say, God, I hear what you're saying. I talked to my helpmate, and then they discuss it. But at the end of the day, I trust Darren to to be guided by God and our Father. And so even if I completely disagree,
Yeah,
I
I don't
submit
trust
to it.
myself at all. It's like at all. But that's why she can trust me, because she knows I don't trust myself. And I defer. I defer every decision to a perfect head. I can't go wrong. So I can't go wrong. And that's, you know, men, if you're single, if you if you're having problems finding a good girlfriend or wife, uh, turn to God. Be a good man, and not just women, but everybody. Everybody sees them. You see these men that walk in truth, that there's no lie in them, that they
Yeah.
defer their decisions to Christ. So we just saw a lady running from a small dog outside.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was.
Sorry. We'll know not to do the show with the windows open, because
The dog was like this big, and this lady was running full speed.
He was chasing her ankles.
Yeah, she needs a husband. No, I'm just kidding.
What's she doing out alone? No, we're just kidding.
Punt that dog across the yard. But anyway, so that's I'm that I understand. So it's like women, I understand that trepidation of submitting, because I have to do it too, and it's hard to. It's like, that's, I mean, it's faith. I don't see Jesus. I don't have visions of him here in the living room telling me what to do. That would be nice. It'd be a lot easier.
It would be easier.
It's just there. But we already have it. The word is written on your heart. It's, the truth. You know the truth. And so she can confidently trust me, because I'm not trusting me. I'm trusting Jesus. I'm trusting in God. And so I'm just a pass through to submission. Yeah. And then same with kids. That's why, if you have children, God, Christ, husband, wife, children. That's the body. If right now in the world it's being turned upside down, right? And we all see how kids are being taught that they're God, that they're not wrong in any feeling they have. The world is, we're handing over authority to children. It's so strange that they're in charge of everything, including their gender, which I guess that's whole other topic.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah, they're kids. They're kids. If you don't know, how is a kid going to know? If you're still confused about things, why are we putting decisions into kids' hands? And it's because we think that they're innocent. And well, we were all kids. If that's all it was, then there would be nothing but innocence. There's good and evil out there. We're instructed to raise our children up. And that's part of this. We don't have kids, but we're given that opportunity to remind people, because you do have kids and you're distracted and you're overwhelmed and you're tired, and what's going on now? What if you lose your job and you have kids, you have to get food? Well, if we just remembered how things work, then there's no worry. Men will go out, we'll make food, we'll build. Look, everybody's freaking out, but the men are still here. It's like everything that is built that feels like it's crashing around, well, the same people are still here that made it. If we just remembered that, there'd be nothing to be afraid of. If communities would come together, children are taken care of, raised, marriages happen. It would just be, it'd be heaven on earth. It'd be God's kingdom on earth if we could all just remember. And so I'm sure this is mostly watched by women. And so I would ask, if you are watching this, to maybe ask your husband to come watch it. Yeah. And so maybe he can see that I am afraid right now, that I'm self-conscious, it's just terrifying. You know, you work out your faith through trembling and faith. Do it afraid.
Yeah.
I had a mentor that
Mm-hmm.
would say, just do it afraid. And that's how we work out our faith, through trembling and fear. And do it. It's the right thing to do. It's the right way to do. It's the right way to be. And so, yeah, I would ask the women to show their husbands, and to, because nobody else is, you know, and I need their help. I'm just one guy. I'm just one guy that has made a decision to never lie again. Period. Uh, Big, little, I've just decided. That's how you become the truth. You just stop lying.
Yeah.
And you know, it's with what's going on in the world. There's so many lies. That fear, something to remember, is that fear, that anxiety. You feel it in your chest and your gut every day. It's just something's coming. Those are lies. They have to be lies, because unless you're told what the future's going to be, it's just you speaking lies to yourself. So every thought that's going through your head, you have to learn to take those captive,
Yeah.
to hold them, and to let them pass, and to defer, to submit to your king. He'll guide you. It's
Yes.
okay. And speak truth. So that's
Yeah.
kind of my introduction anyway for today.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I mean, and that's exactly what this we want the show to be. We want it to just kind of be a reminder to you that it takes a village. You know, we talked about community earlier. We're in times where we need one another. Even if it's just to be kind to one another. If you go to a store and all the TP's gone,
Yeah,
don't get mad. Just
I've told
be happy.
if you're a Christian and you're hoarding, then you know people are, even that, there's lies. You know, should you go fill up your closets with toilet paper or food or whatever, or should you not? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Either way, whichever one you want. If you have the ability to have things, that's great. Have them. Hoard. Fill up your stock houses, keeping in mind that as Christians you're supposed to give it away. And that's, you know, we've done some of that. We don't have like tons of storage and have
Yeah.
a bunker or anything, but we
We've
took the
gotten a few
precautions.
stuff, yeah.
We've gotten plenty of stuff, but with the goal that whoever needs it, they don't have to go buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have to worry about empty shelves, because it's given to them for free.
Yeah. The intent isn't for us to hoard for us so we can just be like mine, 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 mine. The intent of us getting a little bit of extra is if a family member or friend, or you know, even a stranger that we don't know comes knocking at our door, or you know, we see them at the store needing something.
Yeah, those in need.
We
have
got
to
you.
remember that.
You know, yeah, and that's what we're supposed to do as Christ followers, and especially during these times. It's needed. It's definitely needed, and walking this journey, knowing that we're not alone, and if we do this together, it can be beautiful. It can be, even in the midst of chaos and in the midst of pain. You know, that's one thing I've learned on our journey of trying to grow our family is I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone. I have God. I have my husband. I have amazing women and mentors in my life.
We should have each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't these days. You know, we're so secluded. We're so, even churches are so, you know, they're tribal. Everybody's tribal.
That's true.
And the churches themselves as a body, as if, you know, each church were a person. The church has fear too, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
The churches should be brave. We should all, as Christians, we're the ones that run to the sick. Yeah. That's what we're here for. We're the little pills of medicine for the earth. And so we go out in there into the sick earth, even if it kills us. You know, that's what a pill does. It doesn't stay a pill. It is, you commune it, you eat it, and it spreads itself, and it heals that person. And if us as Christians remember that that's our duty, to be the healing pills of the earth, you wouldn't be stockpiling weapons unless you're planning on hunting a lot of food to give that out for free.
Give it away. Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, don't be taken advantage of. Don't be wise. Be wise.
Be wise.
And
yeah.
same with all the I mean, it's ridiculous that we have to be reminded as adults to wash our hands. It's don't let them scare you. You should have always been washing your hands. And if we had been, it probably wouldn't have spread outside of wherever it started.
True.
If we all just took a bath, and I mean, this isn't news. It's don't let them scare you. Just stay in the truth.
Yes.
Be brave.
Yeah.
And you women, I will say, you've been brave. The reason this flip is happening is because men have dropped their responsibility, and y'all have picked it up, and we're sorry. At least I hope that they can see that and then be sorry about that, and then take it off your shoulders again, and carry it forward up the hill.
Yeah.
So that's I want to remind people. I want to remind men about that, and remind them that we love women. We love everybody. We're supposed to. It's all. The world is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It was made that way, and it's been made ugly recently, and it's within our power to clean it up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I got for today. If you had other stuff to go through.
No, I mean, I think just kind of just reminding people to know that, this, as if you are a Christ follower, now is the time. There's no more time to be on the fence. It's time to pick a side, and please pick the right side. Pick God, choose God, Jehovah, and follow Him. And also, in that being said, following Jesus is not rainbows and butterflies. It's simply not. I mean, He. The story in the Bible about the rich man who wanted to follow him, he said, sell all your things. And he didn't want to do it. And Jesus didn't chase after him. He just, okay.
Yeah, the reason the reason Jesus was hated was because he was the truth. He was the embodied truth. That's what makes him God's son. That's why he's of the Father. All these things that he said. He's the Son of Man, but he's God's son. It's like, how are these both the same thing? It's because he was a man, but there was no lie found in him. That's you can talk about Jesus for decades, but Jesus was the truth, and that's why they hated him.
Yeah.
They hate the truth. That's why they killed him, and like Cryssie was saying, that it's not. You don't become a Christian to have success. You don't become a Christian so that you are king of the world. It's actually the opposite.
It's quite the opposite.
Yeah, and Jesus said, knowing what was coming for him, knowing the brutal torture that he was about to go through, for the simple reason of telling the truth, he told his disciples that a slave does not have it better than his master, and that's why he said, pick up your torture stake, pick up your cross, pick it up and carry it up the hill. And the whole point of selling your things, it's not just to be homeless hippies. He says that because if you are of the truth, the world will take those away from you.
Yes.
And I understand that that's frightening, but I'm so much more frightened of not doing that. Yeah. And we, as Christians, we know these things. We just don't know we know them. And we have to remember what I would send you for the next 2 weeks with is to really try to watch from inside your head, from inside your soul, what you are afraid of, and point at it in your head. What exactly are you afraid of? And is it dying? You should know that. Is it your past? Is it something dumb you've done? Because we have all done that. We're all afraid of our past coming back to us. I mean, that's everybody. That's to be a human. There's no human on earth that's not afraid of some dumb thing they've done, except Jesus. So we're all in this together.
We're all in this together, and yeah, and just as we're going through the next days, I mean, we have no idea what's going to happen. We don't know what's to come with the world and the state of it. But what we do know is that as Christians, we love one another. If you're married, talk to your accountability partner, which is your spouse. And we've been reminding each other, no matter what happens, God comes first, and our decisions have to be based on that, not based out of fear.
Right.
And just as Christians, remind each other what this time is about. We remind each other that we follow Christ and Christ alone. And sometimes obedience is going to be hard. Sometimes we're going to be told to do things that are, that we need to just really pray about and seek God
that you're
on.
afraid of.
Yeah. So
And you'll notice a peace. I have so much peace. That's why I can even do this. The load is off your shoulders. You have peace, and that's going to be a very rare commodity these days.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So
I think
that we're good.
I think we did this together. So
yeah, and so we need your help, guys. Together
do this
means
with us.
all of us. Remember who you are.
Yeah. So we do have a Facebook group called If We Do This Together. If you want to join that, feel free to join that. We started it like a year ago when we were doing the radio station. But, Darin doesn't get on social media a lot, but I'll definitely be putting, quotes up or articles or just, interacting with one another. And so, he does hop in there here and there. But if you would like to join and just get updates on the show or anything like that, or just be a part of community, whether you're married or single, it's not, it's not one or the other. You're welcome. You are welcome to be in there. So
yeah, we'll try to do this together. We should call the show that or something.
We should try. If we do this together,
that's a good idea.
Call it that. You think?
I guess. Well, like Cryssie said, we love every one of you. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have hated every minute of this and hate us. I love you.
We love you. If you're like rolling your eyes at us, we're fine with that. We love you.
We love you. All right, guys.
We do love you. All right. Bye, y'all. Have a wonderful day.